Good evening and welcome to The Bottom Line. News about your neighborhood and its condition. News that will allow you to make informed decisions. From downtown to Dover and everywhere in between, it's news that reaches the residents of Wilmington and Newcastle County. News that's real, relevant, revealing. You got it. It's The Bottom Line. Again, welcome. I'm Nicole DeSarette. I'm so excited that you are with us today. The crew is here and we are ready to go. It's January 10th, 2016. I'm going to start off by letting you know that we are dedicating this show to the family of Carolyn Brown, affectionately known as Fussy. As you know, Cal Brown is a part of the Bottom Line crew, and we are sending him and his family condolences in the loss of his sister. So we miss him, and we look forward to his return in the very, very near future. I tell you, this show is going to be jam-packed. You need to put your seatbelt on for this one. We've got some heavy hitters here tonight. The crew is here, starting off with our own captain, State Rep Charles Potter. We have his first mate, Elder Ty Johnson. We have Ed Johnson coming in a little later to give you an update on what's happening in the sports arena. We have Miss Deneen White, Miss Brittany Michelle, Mr. Shaquem Nottingham, and I think Abundant Shaw is going to make a special appearance as well. So again, you don't want to miss anything. You might want to get your paper and pens ready as well. Next weekend is Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. We have a lot of things to share with you in terms of what's happening in and around town. And I'm going to start it off with Saturday, January 16th. The Wise and Well Women's Power Sessions will be presented by the Delaware Breast Cancer Coalition and Women in Action. Again, it's Saturday, January 16th from 8 to 1 at the Star Health Sciences Complex, and that's part of University of Delaware. The address is 540 South College Avenue in Newark. It is a free event which will include dynamic workshops, continental breakfast, and giveaways for all participants. Workshop topics will include breast health, nutrition, stress management, financial literacy, addiction prevention, confidence building, and they will also have physical activity, including yoga. Those are great ways to empower our women. And they are also doing a donation. If you have a gently used prom gown, accessories, handbags, and shoes, they are doing a donation to the Fairy God Sisters of Delaware. So you can go to this free event, get information that is very much needed in our community about health and wellness, and you can help someone else in need by donating those prom gowns and accessories. If you would like more information, you can contact 302-778-1102, and that is extension 1018. Again, 302-778-1102, extension 1018. Well, I'm going to get ready to switch it over to Elder Ty. He's got some news for you, and he has a very special guest. Take it away, Elder Ty.
Good evening, everybody everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us here at The Bottom Line. And certainly our condolences go out to the Brown family and anybody else who's lost the loved ones. We understand that every one of us has to transition from this earth at some time or another. We are all prepared, but we're just never ready. Amen? So our condolences from the whole crew at The Bottom Line. Now, tonight, we want to get right into the news. Oh, my goodness. What an act of charity. Some young lady who has a father who needs a kidney, and she lives in Delaware. Forgive me for not capturing the name. Y'all know I'm getting old. That's right. Forgive me for forgetting her name. But guess what she did? Her father could not get a kidney because she could not match his kidneys. And she went home, wrote on her car window, "Dad needs a kidney. Would anybody help?" And she is amazed, and folks are amazed at the people. Over 30 people calling to say, "Listen, I want to see if I'm a match because I want to give your dad a kidney." Woohoo! Talk about woohoo! Come on, y'all. Come on, talk about the goodness of God. Tonight, we got a special guest. But before we get to our guest, El Chapo, been caught. Lord have mercy. El Chapo. They say that El Chapo was talking to Sean Penn, the actor, and that's how they zoomed in on him. I keep telling you people, man, them cell phones, you better get off them cell phones, buddy. They followed old Sean down there. They found old El Chapo, had a little shootout. El Chapo made a mad getaway under those tunnels. You know he's famous for those tunnels. And he come up under a manhole, and then when he come up, they were waiting on him, baby. They were chasing him through the city, and he was apprehended. Now, El Chapo is in Mexico, and we're trying to get him extradited back here to the U.S. of A. We'll be following old El Chapo, because we got some El Chapos here, Pastor. But we'll be following old El Chapo as the story unfolds. Now, over there in Studio C, I'm waiting for this one myself. Rick Ross, Brother Ross is in the studio tonight. Good God Almighty, which came and all the folks. And we're going to see what really happened down there, Buccini and all that, you know, all that rickety. Whoop! Lord, I'm waiting. I just can't wait. I'm bubbling. But in the meantime, in between time, slavery. You remember the governor showed up at Bethel AME to say that he was apologizing, Delaware apologizing for slavery. Will come Thursday. Later on this Thursday, we're going to Dover, and we're going to support State Representative Stephanie Bolden, State Representative Potter, in their bid to bring forth the bill that says that Delaware is sorry for slavery. And I'm going because an apology verbally is better than an apology, not apology at all. But I'm waiting for the check. You understand? Bernie Mac was still alive. He said, "Understand what I'm telling you? I need that check. My people need the money. My people need college tuition, and my people need, new shoes. And, one thing to say I'm sorry, it's another thing to put a couple dollars with it." Today, we're blessed to have Pastor Brock in the studio. He is the pastor of the New Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church located right at Pine and Vander Avenue. And this church, you may have heard, burnt down twice. Pastor Brock, it's good to have you here.
Good to be here with you.
Man, you don't have to be all pastoral, man. I know it was a
It's
bad
good.
thing, but the
Good to
Lord
be
is
here.
still on your side.
This is just a setup for a comeback.
Good God Almighty, you talking.
I'm not worried about anything. I'm just wondering and thankful to the Lord that no one got hurt
Yes, sir.
in the fire.
What happened? What was the first fire?
The first fire was December the 2nd, early in the morning.
Have they determined what happened?
No, it just, they said someone set the fire.
Someone set the fire. You better be careful, boy. They be saying you set the fire.
Well,
You know how them haters do,
I
boy.
know how you
They-
hear this on the
look,
street.
Huh?
You hear that on the street. But
I'm on the street.
I
And I ain't
love-
scared of them. I ain't
I'm
scared of
I'm
them.
not scared of them.
All right, then.
I'm not afraid of anyone.
Good God, I love that.
It's,
That's right.
It's because the man in me
Lord have mercy.
protects me.
Lord have mercy.
Someone asked me the other day, are you walking forward and looking back? I said, no, what's behind me is behind me.
Good
I can't
God
protect
Almighty.
that. I can't see that. Only God can see what's
Yes, sir.
behind me.
Yes, sir.
My eyes focus on what's ahead of me.
What happened? What was the second fire?
The second fire was on December the 16th in the evening.
I rode by there, man. It just looked horrible. What happened? I mean, do you know what happened?
No, I was there left at about 2 o'clock, between 2 o'clock and 2:05, and went to the bank. And I went on down to see my doctor, and by the time I get to the doctor's office, I get a phone call. The church is on fire. And I said, that was last 2 weeks ago. They said, no, it's on fire now. I said, no, you can't tell me it's on fire now. They said, pastor's on fire.
So you going to the doctor, get checked up.
I'm checked up.
Yeah. and you get a phone call, and you think that somebody's
game.
related saying, yeah, then, well, you talking about 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And they say, no, I'm talking about right now.
And the community, all the community said it would sound like an explosion.
Good God Almighty.
And I got in my van coming back, got to Ford, at the 495 bridge, looked over and I saw it, I said, it's gone.
You can see it from the bridge.
You can see it from the bridge.
495.
495.
Lord have mercy. Listen, Wednesday, this coming Wednesday at 11:30. Everybody everywhere, this coming Wednesday at 11:30. I want you to beat me there. Don't meet me there. 908 16th Street. It's the home of New Destiny Fellowship. We're going to come together. We're going to pray at 11:15. Listen, 11:15. Write this down. 11:15, New Destiny Fellowship. New Destiny Fellowship is located 908 East 16th Street. We're going to come together. We're going to pray. We're going to do a little press conference because not only is the church caught afire, but Brown's Boys Club was broken into. Someone stole all the heating system. Not only is that going on, but over at the Northeast State Service Center. You know about that?
Yes, sir.
Violence in the Northeast State Service Center. So I believe that there's demonic possessions. I know y'all getting like this, ooh. No. I'm saying that the devil is a liar, and greater is he that's in us than he that's in the world.
Yes.
And 2 Chronicles 7:14 say, if my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves, pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked way. What did he say? I would hear from heaven
and heal the land.
I would forgive them
and heal the land.
and heal the land. Good God Almighty. Wednesday. You're going to be there Wednesday.
I will be there Wednesday.
Do you have any needs right quick?
Our needs is great.
Okay.
So any contribution you can help us with.
How do they
Great.
get with you? We got 1 minute.
Well, you can take the contribution down to M&T Bank.
M&T Bank?
At Fox Point.
That's
Yeah.
41st and Market?
Yeah, 41st and Market Street. Ask for Brian or Debbie.
Brian or Debbie
and they will
at
take care of it.
M&T Bank.
They will take care of it.
Brian or Debbie, M&T Bank, you can help the pastor. Listen, M&T Bank, you can help the pastor right now, or you can show up Wednesday at 11:30 at New Destiny. Don't forget, coming up Sunday, before we go with Studio C, we're gonna take a break. But before we take this break, don't forget Sunday, IMAC, the Interdenominational Ministers Action Council, rolling it out with Pastor Townsend, Bishop Titus Townsend, and he's going to be at New Destiny at 6 o'clock Sunday. OMB, Organization Minority Women, with the Martin Luther King Breakfast. I'll see you.
All right, so it was a big year for one of Delaware's most influential hip-hop artists. Richard is so much more than just another rapper looking to be famous. He is a community leader who draws major attention from some of the city's highest officials. Raw is a frequent performer in the city of Wilmington at venues such as the World Cafe Live at the Queen, as well as community events like his free concerts held at HB DuPont Park over the summer. The fact that when Richard Raw speaks, people listen. That is important in a time when the city needs a leader to teach the youth our cultural history and responsibilities. That was stated in December on Delaware Online. We are glad to have here Richard Raw.
Thank you, man. Thanks. Glad to be
Welcome.
here.
Awesome. So welcome to the Bottom Line.
Yes.
Just remind everybody, you were just brought in by Shaquille Nottingham. We have Deneen White.
Yeah.
And then Brittany Michelle, and then our guest of honor here, we have Richard Raw.
Yes.
So welcome to the Bottom Line. So we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah. We're going to use this as a platform to talk about not just the negative things that happen that actually inspire some positivity,
Absolutely.
but what you have coming in the future. So, I mean, we're briefly going to shine a light on some things that happened a few weeks ago. So I think we know everybody's pretty much aware that there was supposed to be a concert held at the Theater Inn,
Yes.
Right.
correct?
Yes.
And so I think when you arrived at Theater Inn, then you were told that the concert wasn't going to happen, or
Actually,
you can perform.
10 minutes prior to us get ready to take the stage to perform, we were told that we couldn't. We were told to exit the building, and we were told to exit the building because someone had made a complaint about my music being negative, that my music advocates killing, and that's all I received. And we were told to exit the building. Now, who actually made the call, I don't know. You know,
right? And that was that influential and powerful that they were able to 10 minutes before your performance shut it down.
Yeah.
And they obviously didn't listen to any of you. I mean, as you can see by the video that was just played in your other work, you were doing nothing but just uplifting
Right.
and bringing attention to what's going on.
Yeah,
So, I
absolutely.
mean, that sounds like sabotage to me.
But you know, I think that it was, although we can always talk about the negative aspects of this situation, I think it was a positive
Oh,
for
always,
you.
Always.
Yeah, absolutely, because it was an opportunity for people to start digging in and listening to what you're really
Absolutely.
talking
And
about.
that's why I wasn't upset, and I
Right.
didn't respond in an upset way because I know what I do. And you know, when you put out positivity and you're trying to uplift the community, you have to expect that you're going to get that type of adversity. When you look at our past, like the Panthers, or you look at King, or you look at Malcolm, they received, you know, a lot of adversity. So this comes along with the territory. I wasn't upset. It just shows me I'm doing something right, and that I'm affect the powers that be, you know, are looking at what I do, and they're scared.
That's right.
And
They're afraid.
what was very shocking was that the same time that your show was supposed to perform, or the same day that your show was supposed to perform, the venue might have closed, but your opportunity never closed.
Oh no, not
Exactly.
at all.
Because I heard that the city building was open to you.
Yeah, well, you know, some calls were made, and I think the mayor got involved, and he actually gave us a location, which was good because I had so many people coming from out of town. And this is what I was explaining to all the parties involved. You know, I built myself into this interesting brand where most of the people that came to the show were from DC and Baltimore. We were bringing together organizations, you know, positive organizations, and it was free for children 12 and under. So, you know, that in itself, I was upset at first, but, you know, after calming down and that call being made, the mayor did give us an alternative location. I'm appreciative of that.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Go ahead.
One of the biggest names that have been brought up in this situation is the Buccini Polling Group.
Absolutely.
Now, what is now seeing what happened, would you fault them for this?
Well, I mean, who owns the property? I mean, ultimately, they have to take responsibility because they own the property and they
Right.
were involved. Like I said, I don't know the breakdown, but ultimately, I'm looking at you as you're the responsible party. So there has been dialogue, there has been a sit down, and there has been open dialogue, which is a good thing because now it gives them an opportunity to see that some of the investments that we're making in the grassroots. I know people make, you know, all of this you know, brick and mortar is their thing. But I'm like, no, we have to invest in people. And so I think it was a blessing in disguise that this happened because it shines a light on what the grassroots are doing. You know, people say it's hard to get them at the table. Well, it took this to get them at the table to hear what's going on in the city.
Right, absolutely. Now, you said that you're building an interesting brand. I
Yes.
definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Because you're definitely interesting in everything that you're about. You're not just telling people, I mean, you're just not a hip hop rap artist. You're a social activist.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
you were listed, that piece that you read from
Yes.
Delaware Online, you were named one of the top 3,
Yes.
only
Yes.
3
Yes.
mover and shakers
Yes,
in
yes.
Wilmington, Delaware. That's an honor.
It really
You know, to
is
be
an honor.
recognized and you know, and for people to really get a real, true view
Yeah.
of Richard Ross. So just tell us about, you know, what's up coming up with you.
I have a program with young males. It's called Beyond Those Bars, and I teach them life skills through hip hop. You know, and that's my passion at this point. I want to work with our young males, especially the ones that they say can't be reached, or the ones that they say are just, he's never going to change. You know, and I want to work with them. So I think later this month I'll start the program at Prestige. And
Okay.
then we have other programs that are being set up as well. I want this in every school because I think our children love hip hop.
Absolutely.
And the beauty of hip hop, you know, and we're dealing with gang culture in the city. Our youth are killing each other. There's a problem with gangs.
Right.
And when I look at the inception of hip hop, hip hop came out of gang culture. It was hip hop that caused the gangs to put down the guns and then start utilizing their art forms to challenge one another. So
Right.
that's what I'm passionate about. That's one of the things. Also spearheaded Bum Rush Black Business, you know,
Okay.
because I think black businesses have to be a mainstay in the city. Our children need to see that businesses, people that own businesses look like them.
like
Absolutely.
So I started this thing called Bum Rush Black Business, me and my wife, and we target 12 businesses throughout the year. And then on the third Saturday of the month, we all meet up and we go in and bum rush that business where we spend money in that business. If you don't
that's
need,
awesome.
if you don't need a product, buy it anyway and give it away, because this is what we want to show our youth. So these are just some of the things. I can go on and on, but these are
Okay,
just
I want to do that.
the,
Yeah, I'm trying to plug that in my calendar.
yeah. So
that's
yeah, we
awesome.
would love. I mean, we're starting a bum rush, so we would love to get everybody. I'll give y'all the information.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You have a website,
So yes, www.richardraw.com,
right?
and I have all my information on there.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Go ahead.
Oh, just speaking of your voice getting out and you really inspiring people, you were telling us earlier behind the scenes about some things that you did recently. You were on a panel, yesterday?
Yes.
And you also went to FSU.
Yeah, FSU, Florida State University.
Okay, so the panel that you did yesterday, tell us a little bit more about what that was about and what kind of messages you deliver. Very
Well,
briefly, because
Yeah,
it's short on time.
okay. That was about curbing the systemic violence in our communities, and you know, we talked about solutions.
Okay.
The one at FSU was about hip hop and social activism. I was invited by the professor of sociology and hip hop, and we did workshops with the students, the college students.
Okay.
Okay.
So now that we know that you're doing programming in the city, you're working with the youth. Now, let's get back to what Richard Raw is really known for, his music. So, have you been in the studio? What have you been working on?
What are some
you-
projects
what
that
you
we can
cooking
look
up?
forward to?
What's going on? What's
Well,
going on?
I just released the live album that
Okay.
came out on December the 11th. And now I'm working on my new album, which will be out in June 11th. So mark that on your calendars. And I think I'll put it as premature now, but the first week of June will be Richard Raw Week. It'll be an event going on every day of the week, something different, because this is what we want to show people the art and showcase the beautiful art in our city.
Absolutely.
That's
And that's every day of the week.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's going to be at different locations.
Different locations.
In Wilmington.
Yes. Culminating at the Queen, June 11th will be my big show at World Cafe Live, my
Okay.
album release. So it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Okay, so all these things that you told us about as far as getting the young men into the programs that you mentioned, we'll be able to find that information at your website.
Yes, www.richardraw.com.
Okay.
Well, we definitely want to commend you here at the
you.
bottom line, because you're doing amazing things, and it's always necessary to shine a light on phenomenal young black men that are
Yes.
making a difference in the community.
Thank you.
So awesome. Well, it looks like we have 2 extra minutes, so if you don't mind, you can end us by spitting a
Yes.
little something.
Can you do that? We can put you on the spot.
Something. Or even a poem, something.
Even something from the piece that we just saw the video from. I was really taken back by that.
Natural disasters, fake pastors, chemicals in the animals so they grow faster. There's too many frowns and there's way less laughter. You speak about race and reporters attack you. The sun is dying off, Armageddon is soon. And I heard they got biospheres up on the moon. Alien abductions and UFOs covered up by the government, so who best knows? We living in a land where the sight was perilous. And Tea Party members are America's terrorists. I'll leave y'all with that. I'll leave
And
y'all
there
with
you
that.
have it. Richard Raw, everybody.
You gotta do the
right,
snaps. You gotta do
Give
the
it
snaps.
up.
So positive hip hop, I mean, that's what I do. You know, I love my hip hop. What I do, you can let your children listen to it, because I
Yeah.
believe that we have to make an investment with good words to our children.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So pretty much, you know, you spit something for us. You letting us know that your album's coming out. You got programs. How can people reach you? What is contact information for people to get in contact with you? Other than the website, do you have any like contact information?
Yeah.
What's your social media? Let's
Social
be honest,
media,
everyone's on that.
Twitter is Richard Raw, Instagram is Richard Raw, and if you want to email us, richardrawproductions@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much for
Absolutely.
speaking with
All
us.
right.
We look forward to everything that you have going
doubt.
on.
And we'll be going to a break.
Yes.
Welcome back to The Bottom Line. I hope you did not miss 1 minute of that segment. I told you it was going to be a wonderful show, power pack, and I didn't let you down, I know. And there's more to come, so stay tuned for this last half of tonight's edition of The Bottom Line. I have the honor of having a very special guest in the studio this evening. This is a person that I've known a very long time. I won't even mention the numbers, but she was my choir teacher in high school. And I ran into her in BJ's and we started to catch up. And she was a passionate teacher before her retirement, and she's doing something. When I heard about it, I could hear her passion, and because I know her as a person, I knew that if she's going to do something, she's going to do it all the way. And I said to her, I need to bring you on the air, and the community needs to hear about it. So I am happy to share with you my friend Harriet Stokes. Welcome to the Bottom Line.
Thank you.
And this is something that I have a feeling many of you won't have much information about this at all. And the topic is human trafficking.
Yes.
And I asked her, you know, why all of these events now? And she said to me, was new information to me, that January is actually Anti-Human Trafficking Month. I didn't even know something like that existed. So I'd like you just to jump right in, if you'd like to share some information about yourself. But let's get right into it, because I believe the viewing audience will find out that this is actually happening closer to home than they may imagine.
First of all, thank you so very much for allowing me to come on your show. I first found out about human trafficking by attending a few conferences with a friend of mine. And I thought that it was something that took place in other countries, and it does. It's very serious. But as I began to research and find more information, I found that with human trafficking, it is very, very strong in the United States. And I was very surprised at the statistics, something that I would like to share with you. First of all, the question is, what is human trafficking? Human trafficking is a form of modern-day slavery where people profit from the control and exploitation of others. This crime occurs when a trafficker uses force, fraud, or coercion to control another person for the purpose of engaging in commercial sex or soliciting labor services against their will. So it's a very serious, serious issue. So right now in the 21st century, we see it as modern-day slavery. I'd like to share with you just a few brief statistics of what's happening in the United States, or just as a worldwide. First of all, human trafficking is a $32 billion industry.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
It is a $32 billion industry. It is second to drugs. Many people believe that in a few years it will surpass drugs because it is a product that can be used over and over again. They have said that once they use drugs, it's done. But this particular product can be used over and over again. $32 billion worldwide. The other thing is it's about 27 million people in modern-day slavery around the world. 800,000 people are trafficked across international borders every year. 50% are children. 80% are women and girls. 1 million children are exploited by the international sex trade. 70% of female victims are trafficked onto the sex trade, 30% forced into labor. In the United States, right here at home, there are 100,000 to 300,000 underage girls being sold for sex in America. That's an incredible number. And I bring it up particularly now because one of the biggest trafficking times in the United States is during the Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl,
During the Super
which of
Bowl.
course is coming
Right
up.
around the corner.
Wow.
A lot of people don't understand. One of the reasons it bothers me also is because the average age of entry into prostitution or the life is 12 to 14 years old. These young girls are asked, or not asked, they are forced to have partners maybe 20 in one night. Incredible numbers. We're talking 12 to 14. And many of them are drugged, or they are forced, alcohol is forced on them so that they can be numbed to the experiences that they're having.
So let me ask you this. What is the connection with the Super Bowl?
Well, wherever there's a large gathering of men,
Got it,
they
okay.
have to trek in.
I see.
As I did some research, I also found out that the World Cup, the soccer,
Okay.
is also another big event,
Oh,
which is
boy.
very disheartening to me. 1 out of 3 teens on the street will be lured into prostitution within 48 hours of running away from home.
Man.
The sale of child pornography is a $3 billion industry. So I don't think it's something that we can ignore. Now, to drive it closer to home, the 95 corridor is a gateway very much to trafficking. And Philadelphia is considered one of the 20 major hubs, one of the 20 top hubs in the United States. So we really need to be very much aware. And as I've even begun studying this even more, I've talked to many people only to find out that their children, their grandchildren, their neighbors have been very much involved in this horrific crime.
Wow. So we are not that far from Philadelphia,
No.
you know, right here in Wilmington. So this is information that people need to know about, especially if you have young children.
Yes.
And we talked earlier in the green room just about keeping a closer eye on your children.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people don't realize that the malls, coffee shops, areas where children frequent, there are traffickers who are there just to groom their children to get caught up in the life. I was sharing with you how young girls a lot of times will go to the mall. They're very comfortable. They meet a gentleman. They think the gentleman cares about them. They will become their boyfriend. And within a matter of months, they have now turned them out and they are caught up in trafficking.
Wow.
And drug addiction is one of the major ways to keep them under control.
So with January being Anti-Human Trafficking Month,
Yes.
I understand that there are some very big events
Yes,
coming
there
up
are.
this weekend. So let's talk about those briefly before we have to move over to the sports section.
Okay.
You want to start?
I'd
Okay.
like to share with you, I'm a member of Fresh Anointing Christian Center, which is located in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. And on Monday, we will be having an anti-human trafficking symposium. The purpose is, one of the ways to combat this is to gain knowledge,
Right.
to get information. Knowledge gives you power. It's very important. And so on the 18th, which is Martin Luther King Day, from 9:30 to 1, our church is hosting a symposium, and we invite everyone to come out.
And it's a free event.
It's very free.
And
It's a
I
very free event.
understand that the speakers are power-packed
Yes, ma'am.
and are kind of experts in their field.
Yes,
so if
they
you
are.
could talk about those speakers.
One of the speakers, Debbie Wright, she's a producer of From Liberty to Captivity. It's a documentary she's working on. And one of the ways that she got into it is that she lived in a very affluent area in Pennsylvania. The FBI descended upon a neighbor's house, only to find out that in that neighbor's house there were pornographic pictures, thousands upon thousands of pornographic pictures of young children, even a baby, being brutalized and
Wow.
raped. So she got very much involved. It's hard to learn about this and not get involved.
Right.
Dr. Ellen Waller is also a powerhouse. She's traveled internationally, and her church is also doing some activities, so she'll be one of the speakers. And then we have an assistant district attorney to say what's happening in Delaware County.
Wow.
So that's happening at my church,
Okay.
Fresh Anointing Christian Center. Also that weekend, if I may, at Enon Tabernacle, they're also having an activity Friday night. They're going to have a play that will actually show the lives of what is happening to several children or some young people who have got caught up in human trafficking.
Wow.
So that would be Friday night at 7 o'clock, and you can find out more information at Enon Tabernacle or enontab.org.
Okay. And if you would like to attend the event on Monday, January 18th from 9:30 to 1, for more information, just call 610-352-3200. And if, at the bottom of the screen, I can see it up there, we have the number for the National Human Trafficking Resource Center, 1-888-373-7888. So again, you said knowledge is power.
Yes.
So at the bottom line, we are letting our viewing audience know what is going on, and we need to be aware, and we need to step up to the plate and do something about it so that something changes. So I thank you for your commitment to this problem, and I thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Ed's getting ready to take it away with sports.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the sports segment of the show. Tonight, I'm going to concentrate mostly on football since the big game is tonight, and we have playoff games going on this weekend, next weekend, and the following weekend. So I want to talk about college basketball a little bit first. The top teams are jumping around so much that March Madness probably will decide this thing. And I'll get into that when March comes around or approaches and when the football season ends. Right now, the top teams in the country is 1, Kansas, 2, Oklahoma, 3, Maryland, 4, Virginia, 5, Michigan State. Pro basketball, Golden State is 35-2 and they're streaking. It's probably going to be a dogfight between them and the San Antonio Spurs, who are 32-6 in the Western Conference. In the Eastern Conference, Cleveland Cavaliers are streaking right now, and I don't see anybody stopping them. They're 26-9. They're leading that division with the best record, or conference with the best record. College football. Tonight, Alabama will face Clemson. It's probably on right now for the national championship. Alabama and Clemson. Clemson has won just 3 out of the last 15 games against Alabama, losing the last 12 in a row. That's what I said, the last 12 in a row. Alabama is just, I think it's just too powerful for them right now, and I think Alabama will win this contest by double digits. Alabama played Michigan State a couple of weeks ago. They limited Michigan State to 236 yards. That was their lowest output of the season. Clemson pulled away from Oklahoma late in that game, and they won that game going away 37-17. Alabama won 38-0. I think the only way I see Clemson winning this game is if they stop Mr. Henry. If they do not stop Mr. Henry, they're going to be in for a long night, and they will get clobbered. All right. I'm predicting that Alabama wins 31-21 or 34-21, somewhere around in there. All right, pro football. I think we should start a new category called Knucklehead of the Week. And runner-ups for that category should be Deshaun Jackson. Cost his team 4 points in the first quarter, but probably didn't cost his team to lose to Green Bay. Second runner-up should be Adam Pac-Man Jones, who came on the field to bump a referee and cost his team 15 yards, and that led up to Pittsburgh's winning field goal. First, the winner of that award should be Vontaze Burfict. I don't know what he's thinking about, but this guy cost his team. I think that penalty that he cost his team 15 yards. Adam Pac-Man, former Pac-Man Jones, cost his team another 15 yards. Gave the game away after a fumble. I predicted that Pittsburgh would beat Cincinnati because I figured Cincinnati would find some way to win that game. Okay, Charles' Minnesota Vikings. Blair Walsh's field goal went wide left last night. We watched that game, and I'm a Minnesota fan, but I tell you, I'm Dallas and Minnesota, and that hurt because the Seahawks, they clearly outplayed the Seahawks and should have won that game. Okay, this week, the Pittsburgh Steelers are at Denver Broncos. I think Pittsburgh will upset Denver. That game should go under. Kansas City Chiefs will be at New England Patriots. I think the New England Patriots will win that game. That game also should go under. The Seahawks are at Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are going to win that game, and it's going to go under. The Green Bay Packers are at Arizona Cardinals. The last time the two teams played, the Cardinals clobbered them. I think this game is going to be much closer. I believe that Arizona will pull away and win this game at the end. And that's about it for sports. Take it away, Charles.
Well, I tell you, it's been a really busy night. Look like I'm going to end the show off tonight with State Rep Bolden, but before I do that, I need to make just a few announcements. Next week on The Bottom Line, you really got to stay tuned because we're going to have Deneen White interviewing Miss Delaware, and that's Renee Bull. And we're also going to have our health segment, which is really important. Abundance is going to tell us and show us how to eat properly, her and Nicole, and I hope she's going to cook something for me to eat. Actually, what she could do, she can cook that apple crisp because I need some dessert, so she can do that. Right now, oh, by the way, did anybody hear, I know Ed just did the sports section, the Eagles have a new coach. And guess what his name is?
Did they hire him?
Yeah, they did.
Today?
Yeah, his name is Win Some Soon. They need to win some.
Extra special. You talking after that Vikings
After the Vikings
blew
game.
that game.
Anyway, I got State Rep Bolden. Look, I got myself sweating here. That was too good. No, but we're going back in session tomorrow. You know, we've been off for 6 months, and you're going to present a resolution on slavery, apology. And let me read this real quick because I want to make sure you talk about it.
Can you just read the summary? Just let me give a little brief
Why don't you do that?
part
Then
on
I'll
that.
come.
Okay, just a little brief fact. First of all, we're doing the apology for slavery for the state of Delaware.
That's correct.
And the summary outlines the history of slavery in the 3 counties. The document shows that the history laws implemented by Delaware Assembly dealt with job segregation in the workplace, education, unions, unjust punishment, the whipping post, the voting rights, and lastly, the apology resolution which is a simple apology necessary for the House of Representatives to do. And this was asked back in 2010 by the Dover City Council under Mayor Charleston E. Carey Sr., and the council person was Beverly C. Williams, council president, that did the resolution. They passed it in the Dover City Council and asked the General Assembly to pass it as a state. So it's going forth. Since 2010, it was never done, so we're going forward with it now. And there were 11 states so far that have apologized for slavery. And just briefly with Maryland, this was a reporter here from Delaware that went to Maryland to talk to Representative Michael Vaughn. And his resolution on slavery was issued in the Maryland House of Delegates, passed 130 to 6.
130 to
130 people to 6.
Wow.
So the resolution expressed profound regret for slavery and recognized that decades of discrimination that resulted in it from slavery. So the delegation and Virginia, their incentive came from Virginia,
So
which had
Maryland,
previously
Virginia,
passed theirs.
and who else?
So the last 3 states were Maryland,
Maryland.
Virginia, and Delaware. So we've been encouraging Delaware. Delaware is the one that still has not done it
Well, let me
out
just
of
read
11
this.
states.
Out of
And
your-
we want to do this. It's going to be in the General Assembly,
Assembly.
on Thursday, but I'll announce that. And
wanna
we want to
announce
make
that?
sure it
Okay.
happens around Martin Luther King's birthday, which we're celebrating the 40th anniversary.
Because we got a lot to celebrate. And the synopsis of this, you talk about what happened in Virginia, the other states, Connecticut, Florida, Maryland, New Jersey, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. This joint resolution is from the House and Senate in Delaware. It acknowledges the fundamental injustice, cruelty, brutality, inhumanity of slavery, Jim Crow laws. It apologized on behalf of the people of the state of Delaware for the role of slavery and the wrongs committed against African Americans and their ancestors who suffered under slavery and Jim Crow. You hear a lot about Jim Crow. It recognizes the need to address and educate Delawareans of the social stigmas, stereotyping, biases, discrimination, which prevailed in the state today as vestiges of institutional slavery. You know, this has been going on a long time, and some people say, why? You know, it's forgiveness. You know, when you do something
It's an
wrong, you got to
apology.
express
Right.
forgiveness. So you want to talk about the apologies and what we're going to do on Thursday.
And so we're asking you to please, if you have the opportunity, to please join us on Thursday in Dover for the Delaware General Assembly.
At
I
2
am the
o'clock.
sponsor in the House, and Senator Henry is the sponsor in the Senate. It's a joint resolution between the House and the Senate. Wednesday, it will go before committee. It comes out of committee, then it goes on the floor in the House for a full vote. I'm really asking as many people to be down there for that as possible in support of this going forward. Remember that this is an election year, and I think that people will be, you need to know who is not going to support it.
Well, what do you say when some people say, well, my family, this is the day that was yesterday, our family had nothing to do with this? What would you say?
It has not, well, the thing about it is that
It's generational?
It's generational, but the fact is, too, that these were people that were not considered people.
Right.
And the way in which they came here, everybody has their story about their family and how they had to do the Irish, the Italian. We know a lot about the Holocaust. But you don't know enough about what these people endured coming over on those slave ships, how they were chained in pairs. I should have brought my pictures of it. and they had to defecate, they had to do everything there. They were not able to get up out of there, and a lot of them died on the way over. And so, I mean, it's just a lot. But we're just apologizing because every other state, when the Emancipation Proclamation, which we just celebrated 150 years on December 7th, and that was done at Bethel Church in a ceremony. So that was a spinoff in which to go forward for the actual apology, because an apology is an apology. If we're trying to teach our kids what's right and wrong and how to say, I'm sorry for something, and if we can't do it as a state, then what does that tell our kids?
The other cultures, you know, the Japanese and other people got reparations, and we're not talking
well,
that.
It's
we're
nothing to
talking
do with
about slavery.
reparations. It's nothing. It does not have. It's not a liability to the state. It's just an apology.
And let me
which
read
says
this
that.
last segment. It implores all Delaware citizens to be tolerant and understanding of one another with a goal of eliminating all racial biases, prejudice, discrimination, behaviors, and to teach their children about the history of slavery and Jim Crow laws to ensure that these tragedies will never, never, never happen and be repeated again.
And
So
a
you wanna
past
conclude?
not knowing your past can lead to the same things happening again in the future. And we see what's happening in a lot of our states now with the abuse that's going on in terms of the criminal justice system, et cetera. So again, I'm requesting that if you have the opportunity to please come to the General Assembly tomorrow. It's 411 Legislative Avenue, Dover, Delaware. We go in session at 2 p.m. and so we should be ready to go on as soon as we have the opening prayer, which I will be doing, and then we will have the apology brought forward.
And the governor of Delaware supports it. We know we're looking forward to this passing.
Again,
You know,
tomorrow,
again,
Thursday.
Yes.
This Thursday.
This Thursday at 2 o'clock.
2 p.m.
So get down
come
there
down
early.
there early, and there'll be seats reserved for you.
Well,
But
Stephanie?
call 577-8843 if you have any questions.
Well, you know, I'm glad you came on, and we appreciate you all tuning into the Bottom Line. I want to thank the crew. We have an outstanding crew. So look forward every Monday, 8 p.m., the Bottom Line. That's the right time.